The theme for History Fair is Leadership and Legacy. To show the theme, I picked Joan of Arc as my History Fair topic. My thesis for Joan of Arc is, Joan of Arc was rightfully condemned as a heretic according to the standards of her day. The early years of Joan of Arc's life. In 1412, Joan of Arc was born into the French peasant class to devotedly religious parents in the village of Dormery. Beginning around age 12, she heard voices, those of Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. She also possessed many characteristics common for contemporary female visionaries who were not able fixture of her time. Claims of direct communication with the saints and reliance on individual experience, as opposed to that found through the institutions of the Church of presence of God. Joan of Arc's historical background. The crown of France during Joan of Arc's time was in dispute between the Dauphins, Charles, and the English king, Henry VI. Henry's armies were occupying much of the northern part of the kingdom with the Burgundians, loyal to the Burgundy and allied to the English, and the Dauphin state were more tenuous, yet since 5 years after his father's death, he still had not been crowned King of France. Historical argument number 1. Joan of Arc claimed she heard voices and had visions. The voices and visions would help her. At the age of 13, during her veil in prayer, she heard voices. Her devotion and godliness grew stronger day by day, as these voices taught her self-discipline. She was conscious in prayer of the presence of Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. The patron saints would voice, direct, and fashion her life. She therefore, without any word, obeyed their word of guidance, and was getting ready to obey the voices when the time came. Voices of the saint which spoke from heaven above. It was to the unseen world that her mind and spirit were turned. She then received a message asking to go to Charles, then her to the throne of France, and to help him in the war against English. Though being a simple, immature peasant girl, never been trained in the art of fighting, never have learned to ride a horse or wield a sword, yet she was called to service to France. Joan responds to her voices and visions. Joan, after receiving the call to save France, boldly sets out to meet the French king. Even though she was not successful to have personal contact with the king in her first attempt, she did not lose hope, but made another trip to the following year when she was 17 years of age. Though the captain did not take her seriously, Joan insisted and was successful after a few weeks to interview the king. It was her firmness and pity which helped her in the end. Although people scoffed at her claim to receive old orders from heaven, she was resolved to fulfill her purpose, believing that God wanted her to drive the enemies from France. She then dressed like a man, putting on armor of a soldier, and rode a horse. Though her unwillingly way drew much prejudice and opposition, she refused to give in, but instead she said, "It is better to obey the voice of heaven than that of a man." It was her passion, love for freedom, that made her ready to even sacrifice her life.